Well, everyone, welcome and thank you so much for joining us. Let's get started.
I'm super curious to know because I feel like just in the past 2 years, since people are getting into NFTs and getting exposure to crypto, so on and so forth, have people really started to use Discord. So I was very curious to know what are the kind of communities that exist. So thanks for bringing that to light. I feel like a lot of sub communities are existing: artists, creators, gaming people, DAOs. It's really interesting to see how everyone's utilizing it. Now that you're reviewing all these servers from all these different communities, and to set up a successful Discord has become such a pivotal point for any company that's a Web3 space, because community is really turning the wheels for the success of the company. What would you say are some of the biggest mistakes you see majority of the servers making?
Honestly, I feel like the first thing that comes to mind is very little awareness in terms of security and the importance of having a secure Discord server. And I think that there's it probably comes down to like lack of awareness and education on how important security is in Discord servers. And so I see a lot of people who built Discord servers, which, seem to be, hitting all the marks, and maybe they even have a great user base and really high engagement levels, yet the developers still haven't been able to prioritize security, and therefore the servers are at risk of being exploited. And I think that's a factor that isn't really at the top of people's lists, and I think it needs to be given a lot more thought.
So when you say security, does that mean integrating a software, integrating a bot? What would you mean by security?
Yeah, I think that, so you've got the actual team who are building the Discord server, or the team of staff who are managing it. And then you've also got the layers of security that you put on top of it. And generally I use a Discord bot which is called WickBot. Some people in here might have heard of it, but it's essentially like a layer, an authentication or security layer that goes over the Discord server, and it prevents say staff who are below a certain level of permission from interfering with the setup of the Discord server. So if your staff members decides to go rogue and wants to just delete a bunch of channels and kick everybody out of the server, it prevents that sort of thing, because it can detect the behavior of staff members that aren't an admin, and it just enables you to really safeguard the security of the whole server. And I think that it's the worst case scenario, something like that happening, and it doesn't happen very often, but I've seen it happen, and I feel that a lot of Discord servers just never even think about it at all. It's almost like and when the worst case scenario happens, they're not prepared, and I remember Bored Ape Yacht Club and a few other really notable projects. I think Decentraland, they've had hacks where people have lost I don't know if you could say millions of dollars, but hundreds of thousands of dollars from phishing links being posted by moderators getting hacked and stuff like that. So
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that valuable point. I feel like when people set up these servers, their goals are, how many members can I have? How can I up my engagement? But such a basic requirement of security is something that can get overlooked. And until that comes upon you, you don't consider it. So thank you so much for pointing it out. I feel like everyone here on the chat has learned that. And guys, we've also shared the link to the WickBot suggested by Peter. So make sure you check it out. Peter, how important do you think the process of onboarding is? I feel like when new people hop on Discord, they can feel extremely lost. And even if existing people hop on a new Discord server, they can still feel lost because each server looks different, right? The way people structure their channels, the way, the what the rules and regulations are. So how do you feel like we can make it easy? Because I feel like once people are not able to figure out how is that they should go interact with the community or for the DAO that matter, so much creativity, so much opportunity get lost in the process. So I love for you to answer like how important do you think onboarding is?
Yeah, I feel like onboarding it's something that is over time has become more, people are taking a lot more putting a lot more time into actually considering it, and I think that now it's a crucial part of building a Discord server, having like an onboarding process that's able to give someone kind of like almost like a bird's eye view of the server and understand why they're there and what is the server about. But it also needs to be accessible, and it needs to be like easy for people to use, because I think there's also what I found in my own process of setting up onboarding systems on Discord is that there's that percentage of the population who just don't understand what's going on. Like you give them a Discord server that doesn't have an onboarding process, and they'll end up in the chat and start having conversations, but then you put an onboarding process in front of them and they just don't know what to do. And I think it might be the complete beginners, or maybe people who aren't so tech savvy that might find that challenging. But I do think that onboarding is important, and there is there's actually a really fantastic Discord bot that I've only recently come across, which is actually completely changing the way that I develop onboarding processes. And I have to share it because it's so powerful. It's called Community. I'll just post a link in the chat for you guys to check out. Community. And so, previously I would set up onboarding systems using like reaction roles. There's these bots that enable you to do things called reaction roles, where there's a reaction that appears below a message and you've got to click it in order to accept some, say, like terms of service or something like that. But Dots is like a step up. It's like so much better. The NBA Discord server is actually using it right now because they like it so much. And Dots is like it's literally like I suppose almost like an automation for onboarding, where it enables you to. It asks the question to the user, and the user might type an answer in the chat or click a button, and you can even capture someone's email address with it. So it's got like connections to email marketing, which is something that I think that a lot of people, when they're building Discord servers, they've always wanted to be able to integrate it with their email marketing, and until now I haven't been able to find a solution, but now there's a solution, which is Dots Community. It's fantastic. And I feel like it's an upgrade in terms of building an onboarding system that's really intuitive. Does that answer the question?
Absolutely. I think that more than answers the question. Thank you so much for sharing this. I feel like all these amazing things exist out in the world, but people don't know where to find it. Right? So you've already shared like 2 amazing bots with us, which can really set up someone's Discord in the nicest way possible. And like you said, onboarding is so important because you have all these amazing community members join, and if they get lost and don't know what to do, they lose interest very quickly and will not stick around. So onboarding is amazing, and guys, do check this bot out. And we have also, because interacting with so many DAO admins, people have voiced out how important onboarding is. So we came up with our own onboarding tool, which is now available for all DAOs. I'd love anyone in the team to drop down the link to it. And what it does is two things. Onboarding really helps when a new user is joining. Instead of them landing up on a Discord and they're just lost what are so many channels about, it gives a great user experience. And you on the back end, like Peter mentioned, when you have emails, it has like so many use cases for email marketing. You're able to collect a lot of back end data and start taking data driven decisions in terms of what are the kind of personas that exist, what is the age group of people exist, what company are they from, what are the emails, and a lot of very, very useful data so that you have a structured community. So I feel like that's why onboarding is super, super like amazing. And community, thank you for dropping your questions in the chat. We will shortly come and answer each of them. So in the meantime, when we are having a session, please feel free to drop your questions in the chat. Peter, I'd love to ask you that you have been interacting with so many like community managers, because those are the people who are managing these Discord server. What do you think is the biggest pain points they're facing in handling these communities?
I feel like the first one that comes to mind really is engagement, like how to engage the community and how to build like almost like a process that makes people stick around. And there's someone that guy I know called Chris, who's the head of partnerships at Jump, which is a DAO for marketers in Web3. And he said this thing to me, which was, he posted this like thing on LinkedIn, which was about something called banner blindness, at least, where people they're not able to see banners that are like, I don't know, their eyes just glaze over when they see an ad and they don't see it. And he said that he was saying like, do you feel that there's this thing coming up now called Discord deafness, where people aren't like paying attention to notifications because there's so many notifications on Discord that people are just tuning out completely. And I think that there's this. So there is, I would agree with that. A lot of people, when you mention you're on a Discord server and you're on the announcements channel and you post an announcement where you go like, at everyone, hey guys, check out this great, update we've got going on, and no one reacts to it, or you get very few reactions, and there's just like, I don't know, like crickets chirping, no response. And I feel that does happen, but I think the antidote to that is having really solid, community engagement strategy and developing. I think that it comes down to developing content that's tailored towards that community, like in a way that enables people to be interacting in some way. Like I think that what we're doing here right now on DaoLens is a testament to that, having like a place where people can come together and learn and share ideas and make friends. And I think that so engagement is like the elephant in the room that is like, what was the question? Can you remind me of the question?
Yes, so the biggest pain point community managers are facing, and
yeah,
been the biggest.
Yeah, I think there's that. I would say that's the biggest one, at least from my experience. Like, because if you have can you mute your microphone?
Yes.
Yeah. If you've got a Discord server where no one's, someone joins and they don't see anything happening, then they're just going to ditch it. And it's sort of like I think it's the biggest, getting that engagement happening in the early stages of the Discord is what is also probably the biggest challenge, because, you've got like an empty server. You haven't got any, chat rooms that have like, actual history and messages, and there isn't any live conversations happening. So I think that's the hardest part, is like getting it to the point where you've actually got regular conversations happening, every day. Yeah.
Thanks so much for sharing that. Yeah, I feel like that's one of the biggest things people struggle with, because you can always get more community members in with marketing campaigns, with, putting, money on ads, and people find out about your server and they join. But to have them come and interact is a challenge. And I loved the point and such a great analogy you shared about banner blindness. Like, there are so many banners we see out on the road, but when are we actually paying attention? And I feel like people are not just in one Discord server. Usually people are in like 20, 30, 50 other Discord servers, and they have all these notifications. It's very hard to keep people in. And what I've observed is like things like community calls, things like having a podcast, things like having a presence outside, giving people a lot of value that they want to come in and engage in your server. And I feel like Bankless has done a great job with it, or even Uniswap and stuff. You see the communities talking to each other, thriving off of each other. So I feel like giving a lot of value points to your community, not just having them engaged for you to look good, but if you give your community something, they would want to come and talk with each other. They will have those relatability points. Well, they start building relationships with each other. So I feel like that is super important. People are kind of now looking community in a very commercial manner, how they looked at audiences in the Web2 world, but community is a very different ballgame. So very, very, very interesting point on that. Peter, so you have interacted with so many like admins and servers, and you yourself have been like, the Discord expert. But if I were to give you $1 million today to solve your biggest problems around Discord, what would that be? Extremely curious to know.
So I already know exactly what it is. And I would actually say channeling $1 million into education. Are you open to muting your microphone?
Yes.
Thanks. Yeah, so I'd say channeling $1 million into education. I feel like there's, at the moment we're growing the Discord Guru, and always growing the Discord Guru. But I think that there's something that I'd like to put a lot more attention into is actually developing content which educates people on, all of the little things that discord.com don't teach you, because I think they in their process of educating it, they're not educating very well. And I learned that, I did an onboarding call with, I recently built a Discord server for Decap Labs, which is amazing Web3 media company that I'm partnered with. And I was onboarding the guys from Decap and showing them around their Discord server that I built for them. And they didn't even know about how to mention someone in the chat, like go at their name. They didn't know about that. They didn't know about the inbox. They didn't know about these really super important features that Discord has that aren't explained. And I think that, the biggest barrier to people actually using Discord is knowing how to use it in education. And I know that Discord is, I think it's pretty much the most powerful social media platform that exists today. And I say that I think that it's the best way to describe it is it's almost like it enables brands and companies to create their own social media platform, and like their own decentralized social media platform with their own rules. And it's sort of like, and it's limitless possibilities. Like the other day I was experimenting with AI chatbots on Discord, and there's actually people who've developed AI chatbots that are in Discord servers. And so there's so many possibilities for what we can do with Discord. And that I think education, making the population way more educated, so that there's not so many barriers to them actually like using the platform. I would put all my money into that.
That's amazing. You're so right. And I love the point you shared that for companies to have their own Discord is like them having their own social media where they are setting up their own rules, where the community can exist together. And I think that's one of the most powerful ways to do. And I feel like we are quite familiar with Discord, so it's so interesting to hear that people might not know of those small features of, like mentioning someone, or how to set up a call, or how to do this and how to do a million other things that Discord gives you the capabilities to do. And that is why communities of hundreds of thousands of people are coming and existing here. That's really amazing, and props to you for making, and props to you for like educating people on all these small things, because that's what really empowers them to go build those communities that they have to. That's really amazing to hear, and what an awesome answer. You spoke about that the biggest pain point for a community manager would be community engagement, which is the mystical myth. Please talk about what is the best way, in your opinion, to keep a community engaged?
Well, I feel like from my own experience of building, I would say, very successful Discord communities that have had a major impact, I would say, I think that the first thing is like identifying, who's your target audience, like to actually, like, I'm going to give you an example of a Discord server that I built. I built this Discord server for NFT project called Art Punks, and Art Punks was essentially like an artificial intelligence project where they used artificial intelligence to paint CryptoPunks in the styles of the most famous paintings in history. And when I took on this project, I did a lot of research into, people who are interested in famous paintings. So like art enthusiasts, like classical art enthusiasts or art investors, and also many people who are interested in CryptoPunks, like NFTs, and also artificial intelligence, so people who are interested in artificial intelligence. And I that was a part of my research in actually setting up the Discord server, is like creating a message that would like hook the people in who were who are into those niches. And I think that like having that strategy around actually, developing content which is tailored towards your target audience, and actually understanding, like doing your research, like market research, and having that, like almost as if, you were, I think that it's sort of like marketing 101 in a way. And I think that maybe, I think some people maybe who aren't doing marketing might not know about this, but it's like, understanding your target audience is like so crucial to be able to sell to them. And so in this case, I'm sort of like seeing it in the same way. Like I'm studying, I'll like, if any Discord server I build, I will do a really deep dive into the types of people, in that niche, and then create content which they're going to really enjoy. And I think that's a big part of it, like having and also having experiences they enjoy. Like an example is I've built a music Discord server, and some of the events that are offered on that server are like, like a weekly jam session where everybody can come together and create music. And, like you just have like thinking, almost consider like, I think that the biggest like most high impact things is actually, not just posting a picture, but actually creating events and experiences for the people on the Discord server, like that are being like we are right now. We're in a Discord server and we're having an amazing call and discussion about Discord. I think that having those experiences where people can come together, that leaves a lasting impression on them, like where they feel like, wow, that was awesome, I had so much fun, like you really want to create those sorts of experiences, and make sure that they're tailored to to your target audience and to the niche, like really like get inside the mind of the people who are your target market, and or like the niche of your Discord server and understand what they need, like what their pain points are, what are they struggling with, and help them, provide a lot of value for them.
I love that. I think that's one of my biggest takeaways is to create events. Yeah, you can post pictures, you can post memes, you can post messages and stuff, but curating these experiences that are tailored to your target audience, I feel like is really like you really hit the nail there. Thank you so much for sharing that. I think that's extremely, extremely like beneficial for everyone that's on the chat. With curating this community, with inviting so many members and stuff, something people are dealing with is what we spoke about a little bit earlier was hijacks and spams, right? So how do you make sure that in the name of community engagement where you want people to chat and stuff, like how are you making sure like people are not spamming? For example, we had integrated levels on our Discord saying that, if you cross a certain level, we will do giveaways. And we just had people start spamming the Discord like anything, right? So I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I feel like giveaways are a very bad idea with Discord, and I've seen it. I've seen these situations, especially when we were in the bull market, and there was a lot of like hype around NFT projects. There was these giveaway bots on Twitter where you could pay them, and then they like shill your project to, I would say, sometimes like hundreds of thousands of people, and then you would get all of these people joining your Discord server. But the thing is that all that they were interested in was like either airdrops or like winning something, and that they wouldn't stick around. They would just show up, and they would be like, they literally like say like one word in the channel, like "hey," or they just like spam like channels with random messages. They don't give a shit about your project, and they leave. Or they don't pay attention. They only do the bare minimum of what they need to do, and they leave. And I think that, so never don't if you're like tempted to pay someone to, I don't know, onboard a bunch of bots or like airdrop snipers or something like that into your Discord, I would never even go there, because it'll ruin your Discord. It's going to be a nightmare to get rid of all of these people, and I think that's the first thing I'd say about that. So stay away from that. And I think also giveaways are like, it's kind of like, it's almost like a lazy, because it's like, you can't think of anything to actually engage people. So you're just like, oh yeah, like let's give away money, So it's just a waste of money and a waste of your time to do that, And I think maybe like strategically placed giveaways can have an impact, but just giving away money in an attempt to get people to join your server is a waste of your time and will damage your project. I think that in terms of dealing with spammers and scammers and all of that sort of thing, there's a lot of Discord. So there's a lot of what are called bot raids that happen where, a bunch of bots will join your Discord server. There's actually a lot of really great Discord bots that can be used to protect against those sorts of things. The one that I mentioned earlier was Wickbot. That's a really good one because it has features in it that, for example, it blocks users who don't have a profile picture set from joining a Discord server, because bots, they tend not to have profile pictures, so you can instantly kick people who join without a profile picture. And then you can even do things like if their name looks suspicious, it'll kick them out. There's another really great one which I'm gonna post in the chat. So where was I?
Capture bot.
Yes, capture bot. Yeah, so capture bots. I think the capture bots are great, and there's been an innovation with capture bots. Now there's a capture bot called Server Supervisor. I'll find the link for that one. And what's so great about Server Supervisor is that the actual solving of the capture is all done on the same channel. It's not like the user has to go into their DMs to try and find a capture code, which I think was a big roadblock, because there's some users who have their DMs turned off, and therefore they're not able to receive this. So server supervisor, really, really good. Are you able to, yeah, cool, supervisor.
Awesome.
I
shared the link. It's not a link to it's a link to the doc of server supervisor. I'm sure it's a Git book.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll find it.
Yeah, that's good.
Perfect.
Yeah, they'll find it.
Peter, I feel like the community is waiting to ask you so many questions, so we will jump right into it. Okay, let's see. I think the first 20 questions are we can't hear you, so that's painful, but I'm sure you can now. The first question after that is by Almas, which is how can we achieve secured place for conversation on Discord without having too many bots installed? Especially me bot, or if you're running polls.
Thanks so much. Yeah, okay, so I think that I don't think, like, personally, I don't think that there's an issue with the number of bots in the server if the bots are serving a purpose. And I think there's also ways, if you're concerned that people are going to see the bots and then think, oh my God, there's too many bots, there's ways to configure the permissions of the bots so that they'll be shown below the users in the server with the roles. So, like, there's a way I set up bots so that they appear at the bottom of the role list and then if you go into the into the server, like the list of members, you can't actually see the bots. Especially if it's a big server, like, the bots will just be at the bottom of the list and no one can see them. So I assign like a role to every single bot and then they appear in that spot. I think that the other thing you could do is use multi-purpose bots, such as Me6, for example, which are like, they have many different functions. So you might not need to use, multiple different bots to solve lots of different problems. And I hope that answers the question. I think that bots are really important.
It does. Thanks so much, Peter, for taking that up. And we have another question from same Almas. She says, and we can do a rapid fire round because I know we're running a little bit out of time, which is, do you think when early starting in a community or DAO, minimum channels should only be there instead of having lots of features, announcements, and events channel? What's your go-to? Yeah. Then she says, what's your go-to bots for setting up a Discord server? But that's a different question.
Yeah. I feel that when building a Discord server, definitely the way that I tend to do it these days is when you first set up, I only set up very few channels because when someone joins a server, and I've joined these servers where they have like 50 channels and you're just like, what on earth is going on? You just join and you're just like, it's overwhelming. You can't follow what's going on. I feel that, when you first start out, it's very beneficial just to have a small number of channels. And because, also with conversations on Discord, if there's, say, like 20 channels in a brand new server, then people are going to get the impression that nobody's talking. But if you condense those 20 channels down into, say, 4 channels, then you might see that there's actually conversations happening. Like when a new person joins, they'll be like, oh, there's some conversations here. But because the conversations are too dispersed on like a large server, they'd think it was inactive. So I think that it's definitely, important to start with a small number of channels. And then as you grow, you can, launch a new channel, and then that can be like a feature update. And you can be like, we've added a new feature. So it's like, it's actually in your favor to start out small and then gradually grow and build the server over time as the user base grows. And so, yeah, that's how I would answer that question.
Thank you so much for answering that, Peter. Couldn't agree more. Of community engagement, having 20 channels versus densing it down to 4 channels can really change your game on how active your community members are. I feel like people make that mistakes quite often, which, we need a separate channel for like 5 different things. But when you really put people in one place together, you'll really see the effect of that. Also, guys, while Peter is finding this out, we are planning to do another episode with Peter probably somewhere around next month, where, because we are running out of time today, we can't do it today, but where we analyze different Discord servers. Right, like what are the good ones, what are maybe some messy ones and stuff, because I feel like all of us in the Web3 space, somewhere or the other, will interact with Discord. You know, whether we're creating our own server, whether we're joining other server, and it's one of the most valuable things to know on how to optimize this one place where everyone is living and existing. And Peter, being the expert, is going to be really awesome to go through his analysis and his insights on, you know, these channels. So stay tuned for that. Okay, is there any bot or software with Discord for streaming like this without using another app like Zoom meeting? So guys, I want to tell you the reason we can't directly go videos on Discord is because it restricts the number of people joining, which is to 25. So we figured out this, you know, interesting way of going live through Zoom. But Peter, is there any other way we can do this in a much more easier fashion?
I feel like, I don't know yet, but I can actually tell you the best place to find bots. If you are ever looking for new Discord bots that, you know, you just need to, like, I'm always looking for new bots, and I often find that I don't need to code custom bots very often, because there's always someone else who's usually like 95% of the time or 99% of the time, someone's already solved the problem that I'm trying to solve. And the website that I go to find Discord bots, there's several, but the main one I go to is a website called top.gg. Top.gg. It's maybe you can post it in the chat, Vika, that would be great. And I would go on there and I would look live streaming bots, and I'm sure that there's a ton of them, and there'll be one that will solve that problem. And if not, then maybe we need to find someone else who can create it. But I'd say that it's likely that someone's created it. Very good. Top GG is awesome.
Perfect. Thank you so much for sharing this. Yeah, I think the most interesting things when I started discovering bots was these bots are like independent companies by themselves, which function like amazingly. So integrating these bots, integrating the right bots in your Discord server can really up your game. You can get so many things which you wouldn't have to take care of manually. So phenomenal. Peter, thank you for doing such an amazing session with us. Thank you so much for all the difficulties we went through. Next month with server analysis. But any ending thoughts from your end?
I very much thoroughly enjoyed this experience and would love to do this again. I really like the idea of doing a server analysis. I think that would be very valuable to everybody. I don't have anything else to say, but thank you for being such a great host, and thanks for inviting me to be here.
Peter, it was an absolute pleasure. I'm so grateful that we connected. Guys, if you want to connect with Peter, you can find him on LinkedIn under the name of the Discord Guru by Peter Lowe. I am going to share a link to his profile right now so you guys can just connect with him, and you know, he's pretty active over there. Give me one second to pull out his profile. And Peter, thank you so much for sharing your amazing and really unique music taste with us. We love to get to know what our guests listen to, and I'm so glad to hear from the community that they can't wait for another session. We'll keep you guys updated. Everyone, thank you so much for being so patient and so kind. These sessions make it, like, having you guys makes having these sessions so much worth it. So thank you for joining us. Have a lovely rest of the day. Peter, thank you so much. I know Nick is here. Nick, thank you so much, and have a lovely rest of the day, guys. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.